And people can hear us now.
Can
Yeah.
they?
Well, I think they can. How you're doing? Oh no.
I'm good, and you?
Oh, that's a big question.
Wow.
No, I can spend the whole meetup talking about how am I feeling right now.
Like about
No,
physically?
I'm
you mean?
feeling all right. I'm feeling all right. I'm fasting nowadays, so it's kind of tough times, but I'm still playing along. So welcome everyone into the today's Prismic Meetup. We have a few things that we will discuss today. Um, but first, maybe let's give it a little bit of time to kind of I don't know, to get to know each other, to talk to each other, right? To get introduced to each other. So myself, um, I've been on this show for since the beginning, right? Together with Renaud. I am the CEO of the company. Well, I like to remind everyone that I am a developer, so that I don't get too much distance from everyone.
You are or you were?
I wear okay,
I
like
was.
whatever. Yes, I wear a developer. I don't write code anymore. And Renaud,
And me, I'm head of product. I was a designer. I consider I still am.
you still design, right?
Yes.
You still go to Figma and
And
design stuff.
yeah, exactly. By the way, I spent the afternoon designing new, very exciting stuff with the team. Was cool. Like it's been a long time that we didn't take the time to do that. So
Yeah,
like,
I knew. Yeah. Anthony told me that it was a day where you were sketching things
stuff,
together.
yeah.
I like this organization. This is really cool. Yeah, and
And I've been there also from the beginning, like from the first meetup that we've done.
you were, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It has been like a year or more than a year
Two?
that we're doing.
I would say 2 years
I
now,
have no
almost
idea.
2 years.
So thank you everyone for being around for the meetup. I always like to start by talking about the weather. I don't know why. I guess the weather is important. And this is the time of the year where you are low. I feel I'm low on my vitamin D or something, right? We've been like through the whole winter. And now, we're almost out of that, and we're starting to see a little bit of sun. I don't know how everyone is feeling about the weather nowadays. What do you feel about the weather nowadays? 20th, yeah, okay. We're at the 20th episode, so 1 year and a half.
Yeah, okay.
Of Prismic Show.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Like yes, I was on holiday like 2 weeks ago, and I went to the sun. So like I'm full of vitamin D and sun. So for me, it's perfect. And then like coming back here, it's with like sunny
little bit
weather.
of
It's
sun.
it's perfect.
Well, it's a kind of ups and downs, right? There are
Yes,
days
I'm
that are harder.
very influenced by the weather. Like that's
Mhm.
something that in my mood changes a lot. So like I have my organization now. I know myself. Like end of the winter, I go to the sun. Like I need it.
You need it.
But you do the same, no? Next week.
Kind of. I try to look for the sun, but I guess there are some people that are, less influenced maybe by the weather. And then there's Henri. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you
Henry.
guys should have Macron as a guest. Yeah, maybe. Invite him. By the way, he was coming to the show. No, we're not into politics.
Noah, we need to get next time, like as a guest, because we have guests today too.
We have guests. We have
Anything agency?
anything agency. We're going to talk about this. But hey, guys, like you up in the chat, like you need to warm up a little bit and tell us about what the weather there where you are and how is it changing, and whether you're sensitive to weather changes or you don't really care. You have your routine and you manage it well. So do you want to, while waiting for people to kind of
Give the program.
to send us something on the chat, tell us about how is the
How?
weather there.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about the program, maybe.
Yes. So today, as I said, we'll welcome anything agency that will basically present a bit what they do and get a deep dive on one specific project that is very interesting. That basically concerns the transition from WordPress to Prismic and how they, why they've done it, how they pitched it, and basically what were the different challenges that they faced. So this will be one of the biggest segment of the meetup, and we'll spend some time with anything agency that is like using Prismic for a long time now, maybe one of our oldest customer. After that, we'll discuss about some product updates and basically general problem that we are trying to tackle at the moment, the different subject that we have started on our side, and also some small release that might give you a glimpse of the direction that we are taking at the moment on that sense. It will be mainly focused on developer onboarding and experience, and so you might want to stay if you're a developer, because we'll also ask you to contribute a bit. And
you might want to stay because we'll ask you for stuff.
no, but to contribute, like to provide insights and to help
course.
us basically see if we are in the right direction and to learn from your needs. And after that, we will discuss about the website of the month, if I'm not mistaken. I cannot read what's written, so you know.
That's the
The website of the month. Every month we have a segment basically where we present a website made with Prismic, and that we noticed because of some particularity. Today it will be Simon that will present that, and that will present the agency that basically worked on it, and give you a general sense of what was done. So, and we'll end up, like always, with a small session of Q&A. And if you want us to address any topic, we'll be happy to take a few minutes to just answer your questions.
Yeah, well, thank you for presenting the program. I feel like people are a little bit shy from their keywords, want like to find a topic that gets us to kind of start interacting, right? This is very important. So maybe here's the question. Okay, here's the question. It was no suggestion, so it's not
So
mine.
I have to answer the question. You don't, but I have.
I mean, everyone should. That's what I expect people to do. So what do you think about the Twitter acquisition? Is it good? Is it bad for Twitter, for the internet? I mean, there are a lot of opinions out there.
Yep.
And honestly, I didn't explore the topic enough. But I feel that it's a big topic, right?
Yes.
Is it?
Very complicated.
Do you use Twitter?
Yes. Well, I read a lot. I don't contribute a lot to Twitter. But
I used to write a little bit on Twitter. No, not anymore.
You've been banned. You've been like the moderator removed you from the platform.
No one will do. But it's like no. I got too busy with other things, and I you know, you need to have a habit to talk to, like, to always be active in Twitter. So, did you explore the topic? Does it seem like a good thing?
Very.
The acquisition, the Elon Musk.
I have a very shallow understanding on what it can bring. First, I think that's complicated. It's like a concept. There is good side of it and there is bad side of it, I guess.
Yeah. What is the good side that you're
But
seeing?
the good side is the fact that the good side of it is that
People are watching.
I consider it as a good side. A lot of people will consider it as a bad side. I had this debate with friends, but the good side of it is that basically the algorithm and the moderation will become completely transparent, in the sense that at least they pledge on.
And that's what they
putting
promise.
Yes,
Yeah.
voilà. In the promise, like I find this really interesting, because I felt that concentrating the power of basically being able to ban people and giving this power to a private company and to remove people from the public space is really, really tricky. And so it seems that they commit to not do that again. At least that's one of the big part of the acquisition from Musk, and that's interesting. The fact that this becomes transparent and open source is interesting too. And the negative side is, again, concentration of power and concentration on media, on billionaires. So that's a tricky part too. So that we'll see how it goes. And I guess,
but there are times when I think, like, you know, people will end up choosing. I mean, sometimes we look at people. And I understand why, like, as influenceable, you know, we are influenceable creatures, and when there is a big media like this, like Twitter. Then there is a lot of power that can be used there into manipulating people.
Yep.
But honestly, when there is too much manipulation, people end up choosing something else, right? They move to somewhere else. They start feeling. You're not sure?
No, like people tend to stay when even
have
though they are manipulated, they tend to stay in an area where basically they get reassured in their opinion. So even if it's not the right one, basically. What?
This is no, but
it's warming up the chat.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. So please, if you have any opinion about that, let us know what you think. Maybe it will you know, enrich our understanding of what's happening. It's a big thing, but I have no idea what to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ideas, but you know, not determined.
And then as a user, most likely. Elon Musk has a track record as an operator of doing good product. So I guess as a
technology-wise, we're
as a
sure
user,
that there is
most
something
likely-
that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But what's the impact? That's the question that we're asking. Anyways. So on our program, the first thing is
to get anything
to get anything.
on the core.
I love how agency names are very creative to an unexpected way. Sometimes. Like you don't, every time it's like, okay, that was creative, that's cool, and then you don't expect that things will go even wilder, and they keep going wilder. So let's ask them why did they name their agency that way? Can we maybe bring folks there?
They are there.
Hi there.
Hello.
Trial.
Hi.
What's up with the name? Who can talk about it?
Jono.
Do you want me to? Yeah. It was actually a client of ours who came up with the name for us because whenever he gave us a digital challenge, we always delivered it. Came up with solutions. So they said you should be called anything because you can do anything. So that's where it came from.
Nice. Okay. Well, there is a story. So
Yeah, it's a story. Yeah.
thank you for being here around and for helping us and talking about your story and your expertise that you built throughout the years. Maybe you can start by like a little bit of introduction of yourself, quick introduction of yourselves and of anything, and then we can go into the story that we prepared for today.
I'll start. My name's Jono. I'm a founder of Anything. Very much a front-end developer. Also very into design as well. But I actually was the person who found Prismic 7 years ago and persuaded the agency to start using it.
Cool.
Hello, I'm Leander. I'm the Client Services Director for Anything. I'm not a developer. I'm a digital specialist though, so I handle everything from new briefs, new proposals, and seeing the successful delivery of our projects.
Nice. Now you have to tell us what's your favorite technology. What is it? React or Vue already? Like now you're going to make friends or enemies. I don't know.
Another one.
Why is so? Have you done any React or Vue before? Nice. So I feel that there is there's something. You're managing. You try to manage this, right? Yes. So they're onto it. So now there is some issue with some app that keeps saying something, but never mind. Let's continue with discussion. So, sorry, I didn't hear the last thing you said. You were saying that you had experience, and then with React and Vue, right? What was it? A little bit with React. Yeah. So, right, and was it easy to learn when you moved to Eleventy? So it seems that we have some sound issue because I hear you very well, but it seems in the stream people can't hear you. Let's give us a few seconds to see where the problem comes from.
Maybe I translate for people that are with us on the chat, and so you asked basically, Andrew, what is his favorite technology? You asked between React and Vue, and what Andrew was saying. So for people that didn't hear him,
Thank you.
was the fact that he is coming from a HTML background or used to use HTML, and so he used a bit React and Vue, but like preferred to have an approach around HTML, and so now that's also why they came to use 11t and to basically make 11t a technology of choice at anything. And so the thing is, at the moment, like the way we'll go about it, as soon as the sound is improving and that we can fix that, anything will present us a bit the agency, what they do, and their story with Prismic, because as Jono said, and you haven't heard that either, I guess.
Yeah.
They started to use Prismic 7 years ago.
So first, I asked why did they
They are called
name it
anything.
anything, and it seemed it came from a story where the client, their clients, where they were asking different stuff, and they were delivering to this, and then the clients are like, hey, you should be called anything because we can ask you for anything, right? This was the story. And
so yeah, they started using Prismic 7 years ago. So really being able to deliver anything, because if you were able to deliver a website with Prismic 7 years ago, you can really deliver anything at the time. For a company, like I guess the first project that they used was NetMems, big project still today using Prismic. And
yeah, let's make it maybe take a little. It seems the trial thing that keeps repeating is very annoying for people, and they ask us to maybe pause a bit the stream. Let's.
You want to pause?
Yeah, let's give it a few minutes to kind of focus on fixing the problem, and we'll be back.
Okay.
Hang around, guys. We'll be back.
Do you want me to advance maybe and to use the product, do the product update while you are doing that?
Yeah. Okay. Let's then start with a product update. No, you will take over. We'll talk about the product update, and then we'll be back to anything. Good. You'll
be able to pass the overlay, right? Or not? Yes. Okay. So see you in a few minutes, guys. Sorry for that. Okay, so I wanted to give you a quick update on basically the main focus that we are having at the on the product side at the moment. The main thing that we are working on currently is to basically improve the overall first experience of developer using Prismic. This comes to basically improving the overall onboarding and exploring different hypotheses and problems on how to onboard you as a developer. So if you are a new user at using Prismic currently and you're in the chat today, you might be interested in that. Even if you are not a new user, it might be relevant for you, because if you're working in an agency or in a team, it might be very relevant for you to understand how people from your team will be onboarded the first time they use Prismic, and to basically have a sense of how you can make your colleagues and colleagues or co-workers basically being more productive with the tool and to onboard properly. So the first question that I must ask you on the chat, and please don't hesitate to reply and to give me some insight, because this would be used also for us to gather knowledge, is basically how did you learn Prismic in the first place? What was your experience on learning Prismic? Did you found out somewhere on the internet a tutorial? Did you use some starter that we were providing? Is it a coworker that basically introduced you and gave you tutorials on how to use the tool? I'm really interested in your experience and understanding basically how you use the tool, because this will be helpful for us to basically orient our strategy and to define how we want to basically design the general onboarding and which area we should focus on. So please don't hesitate to drop any information to reply to this question in the chat. This will help us a lot. And I will give you a glimpse of basically what we are working on currently, and basically the choices and the elements that we are tackling at the moment. I'm going to open the chat. Okay, so I will give you a bit of time to basically reply to this. In the meantime, what I will tell you what we are working on at the moment is that we are exploring a general idea on onboarding through starters. What we've seen in our research and in our study is that decent amount of developers are basically testing the product by looking at actual code of website implemented with Prismic. They learn how to query the content, they learn how to structure their code, and they learn basically the general concept of Prismic by looking at actual code. And at the moment, we are putting in place some investment in that area to simplify the onboarding and the learning curve of Prismic by investing on this starter aspect. So the team very recently updated all our starters that you can find in the GitHub of Prismic.io community. So you will find new revised Next and Next starters for blog and for multilingual websites. So if you want to learn how to use, for example, localization features, you will be able to find websites and code base that you will be able to explore and use to basically learn how to query, learn how to structure the code, learn how to template your code, and this comes along with custom types predefined and basically a whole code base that you can just explore and learn from. So like if you can assist me maybe with some chat answers would be awesome. Sure. And so that's one thing that we are doing at the moment and that the team released. So if you go already to this GitHub, the Prismic.io community, you will find updated code with like new design and new fresh code and really very interesting starters to provide to your team or to learn from as a new user. And the thing is that at the moment what we are trying to explore is to go even further in that area. So the main thing is that starters are today a part of the documentation, okay? Something that you can find from GitHub, but we would like to introduce it in the overall onboarding of Prismic when you create a new repository and to basically streamline this whole process of using a starter. So at the moment, what we are redesigning, maybe we can do a quick pause on the chat. So I'm going to look at the chat. So
you asked a question, right?
Yes, I asked a question. I asked basically how did people learn from learn Prismic, and what?
So can you remind us of the options that you put?
Can you put them back, please? Up. Awesome. So basically, starting from a tutorial, learning from a colleague, exploring a starter, figuring it out on your own, looking at the documentation, etc.
So we have Jean who says that B and D found Prismic by a coworker who mentioned it, and Daniela the same, B and D. Now, Daniela comments that she found it being used on a website and really loved and dived in.
Cool. So no one is using a starter here, like on the chat.
Well, the question is like, how did you learn it from?
Yeah,
they learned it. Some people learned it already because it was already installed on the website. I have Skriram. I learned Prismic from from docs on Prismic package documentation. Your website doesn't have documentation for Python. I hope you look into that. That's interesting. And then you have D and well, basically B and D. That's what you have.
Basically, most people looked at the documentation and try to figure it out on their own.
Well, that's how we do, we figure out things, developers.
But some of them were introduced by a friend or a coworker, basically on the
right.
team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So as I was saying, we updated our starters and we are now streamlining basically the way you will be able to start a new project with Prismic. That's the current work that the team is looking at. So the general process will now be when you start a new repository, we will provide you either to start from a blank state, the way you're used to, basically starting a project. But we'll also ask you if you are willing to use a starter, basically, to start your own project. This will not only basically help you downloading the code, but what it will do is that it will pre-populate your repository with custom types, but also documents that you'll be able to basically look at, explore, test the overall editing experience of creating new pages and adding a slice, etc., etc. And then we'll provide you like this. Basically, after launching a command, you'll be able to have this whole repo set up with like documents and custom type that you will then be able to explore and to work with and to learn from for your first experience using Prismic.
So that's what the starter.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have a fully running project
Exactly.
with some sample pages.
Exactly.
Right.
Locally.
So it will even populate the content, right?
Exactly.
All right.
And that we think should simplify for a lot of new users, basically the how to simplify the way you grasp basically the main concept of Prismic, because we know that it might be overwhelming as a new user to understand what is a custom type, what is a slice, what is a document, all these kinds of
So
stuff.
I feel that there are two schools of people. Okay, there are two different people. There are people who like, for instance, my some people like to kind of go into the basic and the fundamentals and go build on that. Okay, what is this? What is that? And keep asking questions. Then they get into the idea of how things work, and then they start working on their own project, right? And there are people who rather learn by doing.
Yes.
So that rather open up a project and start. Okay, I want to do, for instance, a navigation. How do I do? And then they look at the documentation, they follow it, they build that. And then next, I want to build a page, and then they follow the documentation and they do it, and so on and so on. So more learn by doing. Yeah. I fall into the first school. So I like to have a starter. Because I will kind of browse around, understand, okay, how is this working? And then we'll look at the code and then change a little bit the code. We seem to be good on the installation. So look in the code a little bit, modify it a little bit, try to break it, try to fix it back. And then I understand the dynamics, what corresponds to what's doing what, and this is how I get to learn. So for me, starters is ideal. I will spend like a day or two browsing the thing and trying to break it and add stuff to it, and then I would say, okay, now I understand how it works.
And I can start a new project from
and
zero.
Now I can start a new project from zero, so it allows me to have like kind of this example, just something that is working.
I fall more into the second category.
Yeah, I expect it. So how do you like to learn?
Me following tutorials, basically. I'm like, okay, let's get.
So requirement oriented. I want to build something right now.
No, or just on a step by step basic. It's learning by doing, in the sense like, okay, I know that I want to build a website. Just show me how, and then I will adapt at some point because I understood the concept, and so I will
learn by doing.
I will make the learning my own, and I will adapt it. So that's my way of going.
It's funny. I would like to understand in the chat who falls into the first school. So basically, how we call it, the first two was the first one. Learn by observing, and then learn by doing. Let's talk it like one. The first is learn by observing. So you look at the starter or something, and you keep, browsing around, changing things to understand how things work. And the other is learn by doing, and then you start building the thing, and throughout your building process, you get to learn. It's interesting to see. Yeah, I see Pablo maybe falls into my category. break it and try to fix is the best. I mean, I'm sure I will have everyone like following my school, and then we have.
Look, the new answer
already
is saying +1 for tutorials.
+1 for tutorials. Okay, we're one
to one.
Let's see who's going to win. Nuha, which is your school? You learn by observing or by doing? Doing. Okay, well, 2-1. I would say both. Samuel is very nice to us.
I don't take a side.
I'm not taking any sides. Or maybe this is what he likes. 50-50. Cool. What about you, Simon? Observing or doing? Doing, of course. Okay, well, I'm a minority here. I'm becoming a minority.
No, someone just tied it. I'm also in first category.
So Siram, you're my friend.
And we'll be able to ask like people at anything agency how they prefer to do.
Cool, that's a good thing. So is it time that we bring them back, or you have something to finish?
It's time to bring them back. I hope that it will work now. So, Jonando.
Hi.
How did you like how did you go about learning like the technicality of Prismic?
Well, I'm an observer, so I'd hack away and get it working. That'd be my approach.
So working by doing. You're in the second category.
Yeah.
I'm losing here, but I understand. I understand. I completely understand.
I'm also a doer, so I have to get in there.
Same.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So now, does it sound work fine? Can the team in the chat help us understanding if you can hear people at anything, and if we are good, and if we can start now the interview?
wanted to go through WordPress, but you observed that they could take better choices. Can we start maybe talking about this and put some context there?
Yeah, so the client was Drive Electric, which is an electric car leasing company in the UK. We built a website 4 years ago in WordPress, and it started off great, but as we tried to expand it and integrate with other services, it just started getting more and more messy, and plugins were outdated. Things needed updating. Bringing in external data was just very, very difficult for them. And also from a development point of view, unless you were a developer who'd worked on it at the start, we couldn't really figure out how it all worked. It was very, very hacked together, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, is it good?
Well, we'll keep talking. I don't know.
Okay.
Ask maybe short questions and ask the guests to repeat the question.
Okay, because we don't have the
It
sound.
seems they don't have our sound. They have the guest, but the guest is what matters most. Let's go through it.
Okay. So you went to this customer that basically Drive Electric had their WordPress website, and you said that the frustration was getting like stronger, and that they want you pitched them right first to go with a solution like Prismic, but they didn't decide to go with it, and they chose to use WordPress. So can you maybe detail a bit the frustration that they had, and why basically they came back later, and what motivated the change basically?
So it was the change was we went with WordPress 4 years ago. It started off well, but over time we just couldn't get WordPress doing what we needed it to do. From an SEO point of view, we were very particular on how we wanted everything to work, and WordPress was just really holding them back as a business.
And so the SEO was the main problem for the business, or did you have any other problem? Or like how did you? Yeah, good.
Yeah, there's a number of things. So SEO was one. Page speed was a real problem. It's quite slow. Other things was how WordPress handled images. They wanted to crop images really, really particular because of cars. They wanted them to look really good. And then the other big thing was external data. So pulling data in, sharing data, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because we didn't talk about Drive Electric, but like maybe can you present a bit the company and actually what they do, and why for example SEO and performance and images is so critical for them?
So Drive Electric was is one of the UK's biggest electric car leasing companies. So you go to Drive Electric if you want to get a new Tesla Model 3 or something like that. You go to a website. So being high up in search engines is really, really important to them.
And they developed like they are trying to create more and more content to basically acquire new customers and so.
Yeah, we wanted lots of organic traffic from search engines.
And the thing was that there was different problem that as you said, like one problem that was really the website was slowly performing and basically
very slow,
creating issues on SEO, but also on the overall experience, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And there was a problem of trust too. You said like when they wanted to basically update content, it was just breaking.
Yeah, exactly. And when they wanted to add new features to the website, it was very slow as well to add them features.
Okay. And so, can you tell us a bit about how you addressed those frustration and the overall flow, basically, and how you came to advise them to switch to Prismic?
Our best approach really was to actually produce a proof of concept. So we built for the pitch a proof of concept of how the Drive Electric website could work in Prismic. We showed them how it could handle URLs exactly how they wanted them. We showed them how images could be cropped and changed. We kind of just built out a very rough proof of concept to prove to them that Prismic was the right solution.
So it seems that I'm really sorry, but it seems that the trial noise is back. No, it's okay now. Yeah, okay, it's okay. We can continue. You, yeah, go ahead, continue.
Okay. And so in this proof of concept, you were able to address like the concern that they had about speed, performance, and because you talked about URL now, but like you managed to basically prove that the main concern that they have will be tackled in the transition, right? So I know that you talked a lot about speed. Can we maybe get in details on what were the problem with speed and why speed was so critical in your strategy?
Yeah, do you want to answer that, Andrew?
Yeah, so we were finding with the WordPress existing site that they had, performance was just in simple terms, it was terrible. Be it with additional markup, which they didn't have much control over, which was WordPress generated through various plugins which they'd had installed. And also a big side of it was we noticed with images, a lot of their images were all being served from the main WordPress site, so they were a lot slower. Whereas with the transition to Prismic, we were able to make use of the image CDN and all of the features that came with that to ensure we were serving optimized images for the proof of concept. So that went a long way in terms of getting them to buy in terms of the solution.
We are showing at the moment like some of the info that basically you shared with us about the light score. It's a unit that you use a lot, like to convince your customer basically or at least to like that you show to your customer that on the overall performance and the criticality of tackling basically speed issue or performance issue.
That's right. Yeah. So this was the performance statistics from the WordPress site, which we presented to them to show them how they were performing with WordPress.
And what you said though is that even though they were not performing perfectly, they were in a good side because basically the overall industry was not performing properly, right?
That's exactly it. When we looked at their competition, they were also performing really, really badly, and probably a lot of them were also built in WordPress as well. So even though we weren't doing very well, no one else was either.
That's very interesting. And so you came to basically, and you told us in the prep interview, basically your point was we want to build the fastest experience to basically get a green car, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we promised them we'd make them the fastest car leasing website.
Okay. And you have some insights about so we talked about speed, important for SEO, but do you have any insights on like speed in the effectiveness of renting basically a car? Like what did it change to increase the speed in terms of conversion or like overall experience? Do you have those insights?
The website only went live actually a couple of weeks ago, so data's very, very limited on that just at the moment. But it wasn't just about users; it was about Google. We wanted Google to understand this was the fastest website to rank higher. We understand the importance of speed for Google as well. So data's very limited at the minute. We've got some great data on how much faster we are now, but time will tell how that translates to car leasing.
Okay, and so you managed to evangelize on the issues that basically they were facing with WordPress, and so can you maybe guide us a bit on the winning proposition and how you came to basically pitch your approach and pitch your vision, and what were the main elements that convinced them to redo the new version that you are building?
So a big part actually was the time frame which we said we could deliver this project. I think we have done a slide actually on our timings. Just skip ahead a little bit. But the massive advantage with something like Prismic is we can get them adding content before we've actually finished coding the website. So they wanted to launch a website in March. We only started work on it in January, and there's quite a lot of data. This is it, yeah. It's quite a lot of data to migrate across, but because of our experience with Prismic, we could actually get them inputting all the content, migrating hundreds of articles, lots of cars, car data, van data, etc., long before we'd actually finished the website. So as you can see there, content entry actually started, end of January. That was very early on. It just gave us a huge advantage pitching that we said we could deliver a website for March with all your content migrated.
Yeah, there's something that I like about when you were, I mean, of course there is the performance part and there's the search part, which are extremely important. But there's something that you said earlier, is like you put the client in control, right? Like before you said like updating, when you deliver a WordPress, that setup you were talking about, it was more updating the website was a little bit of I don't know how you express it, hacking into WordPress, right? Whereas now it's more like you give them control, so they can publish these pages on their own and they can make progress on their website more easily.
Yeah, they're completely in control now, which I love, absolutely love.
Like, is in the do they have developers, or just do you deal with also like only content writers and marketing teams, or is it also in the hands of developers?
So there's lots of teams using it. So Prismic's actually used for all the content, such as articles, blogs, events. But it's also actually used for all the cars as well. So all the cars they allow you to sell. They sell on the website is all managed through Prismic.
Cool.
And basically what I really like is that when we talk about performance, basically we talked about the performance of the actual website, but also the performance of the team that now is independent and that trusts the system to basically create campaign and to iterate on it.
Yeah.
And actually on development too. That's what you said, like you knew, that's what you told us, like you knew that this website will have to be updated and it's the actual product of the company. So this website will need to be updated and you will need to iterate on it, and so you need to have not only a system on which we can rely to publish content, but a code base that you can iterate on fast, right?
That's right, yeah. Lots of quick changes with this website. So it's we launched the website end of March, but over the next 2 years, it's going to be constantly evolving. Lots of changes each week.
Leanda, do you have anything to add?
Just to reiterate, really, the client working with Prismic, it was amazing how little training we actually gave them on the CMS. But I noticed today when I was looking around the site, they're kind of using the scheduling tool for when they're launching a new car. So they put that in on Monday, a new car launches tomorrow. And I've not even trained them how to do that. I just mentioned we could. And so they're really, really getting on with it. And like Jono was saying, the site, it could be that content editors could use the WordPress website. But the challenge with that is they could break something when just trying to do a simple update because of all the hacking that they need to do around the code. And so now they've really got that freedom and flexibility. They're loving using the different slices that we've given them, all the different layouts that we can provide. So they feel like we've not only fixed the kind of technical issues with the site, but also allowed the marketing team to really get on with their job really quickly, really fast, getting that content out and those new releases of cars. And so really, it has been really revolutionary. And this is just phase one. We've got a few phases to go yet over the next couple of years. But they're overwhelmed with joy, actually, with Prismic. So
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Well, that means a lot. I mean, well, thank you for that, and this is very positive. I am also interested in the things that you think that we should be improving, right? Which not it's not only one-sided. There are always things that we have to improve.
Yes, I can tell you.
Oh, go ahead then. Go ahead. Maybe some people will relate to that in the chat.
The only thing for me was the image library, so the media library. The categorization is a little bit tricky at times. So if you could fix that, that would make it the dream for me in my life. Thank you.
So, any hints about what needs to be? I mean, we are aware of that. Like this is one of the things that Ono, knows about and has plans about. But are there anything in particular that you feel that any hints, any things that you think that should be improved in the media library? You talked about categorization, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's just when you end up with a lot of the images in there, it would be great to be able to categorize them. So particularly for Drive Electric, they have a lot of cars and they have vans. So to be able to categorize them maybe by manufacturer, for example, would be a good way to allow them to quickly find them. We're working at the moment, and maybe we send you it. We're trying to put a structure together. Andrew had a great idea using the kind of notes section within the media library. Yes. So we're going to put a structure together for them. But yeah, I think
it's not ideal. It's not ideal, but it's still
Yeah, but for me, the clean tool is like my most favorite thing in Prismic as well, because I'm used to kind of having to clean up code from 20 years ago. So it's brilliant that he just does that.
Well, thank you for the feedback. And so you talked about other phases, right? That you going to launch. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Did we talk about it? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
We haven't.
We can tell you a little bit. We can't go into too much detail, but essentially, phase one was all about just stabilizing, the site for the client so they could get on and do their day-to-day work. But we're looking at kind of back-end integrations, CRM integrations a little bit later on down the line, but also really kind of focusing on the search functionality and the way that users select electric vehicles. At the moment, the site's quite simple from a search perspective, but we're looking at different ways. And it could be that, as Jono found, he does actually have a Tesla car. He has a Model 3, but then got a Greyhound dog. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
No, it is a 3.
Yeah.
And then he got a Greyhound dog and he needed a bigger boot. So there's lots of different reasons. If you're going to be a new family and you have prams or buggies you need to put in the car. So we're looking at the kind of UX of the site and hoping to maximize the efforts with Prismic as well, really, there.
Cool. That's really great. I know you Ono, do you have any questions?
I know, but I think we covered a lot of things. Like we haven't shown maybe the results of the first phase one, and we went into the next phases. So, like, maybe we can talk about it very quickly. But I don't want to maybe go back on, because the flow was really natural in a sense, and so it came to.
So the results of phase one, you're saying? Yeah. Maybe we get a quick recap of the results of phase one.
All of the speed results,
really happy with that. 98%. So it's absolutely flying. Really fast website, and the way Prismic handles images, the fact that we can serve WebPs and multiple sizes, just made that so easy for us to kind of hit those scores.
So let's take maybe we can take a little bit of the credit of the fast images, because it's like we offer images for out of the box, but we can't take the whole credit of performance, right? There is also maybe Eleventy is your choice of technology helps with that as well, right?
Yeah, it's very little JavaScript. It's it's very, very streamlined website. Really is fast. Yeah.
And maybe it's also we can give some credit to maybe Lucy and the DevX team that has created a very nice integration with Eleventy that allows everyone to basically use Prismic and to preview the content with it. Like that's something also that facilitates all the work.
Yeah, definitely. And the plugin keeps getting better as well. Lots of new features keep getting added. It's brilliant, really good.
Nice. So that was, I mean, we can talk about this forever, and there are many things to be explored. But I guess we covered quite a few aspects. Do you have anything you want to add that we didn't cover?
No, I don't think so. No.
Andrew, anything you want to add?
No, not specifically. That was great. We covered great things there.
Great. Well, we just posted the link of the website on the chat so people can check it. Thank you very much for telling us about the story and how things went and the result you obtained from that. I'm sure this is helpful for a lot of people. So and sorry basically for the different sound issues that we had. They are weird. We're going to debrief how can we avoid them in the future. But thank you for bearing with us, and thank you for the story, and we'll catch you around.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
So we should get a section in the meetup, feature request, like how would you say?
This is what Henry is suggesting.
Roast Prismic, like.
So now we're down for the last
part of the meetup,
which is website
of the month, and it will be Simon that will get there and that will present it.
So let me free the place for Simon to present it.
You want? I can free the spot.
Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
How are you, Simon?
I'm doing great. Reno, how are you?
I'm good.
Good to be back again in this seat. Thank you for the warm seat, Sadek.
Like maybe we need to adjust the camera though. Like you're not the same size.
Yeah.
So
It was interesting discussion before. Like
you met them? You met anything in the past?
I guess it's my colleague Noor who's been working with
Okay.
them. But it was interesting points that they mentioned because I work in the agencies team. We work with development studios to make sure they adopt Prismic features and they move faster. And this is something we hear often with other development studios that Prismic helps them accelerate the development process, easier to onboard clients, and this point. So that was very interesting discussion.
Awesome.
Anyway,
today what do you want to talk about?
I realized we almost didn't talk about Slice Machine, and I guess it's a great time to talk about website of the month.
Okay.
That was and the Slice Machine was just part of was Prismic product,
Yes.
and it's called Natural Selection Tour. That is been done by This Design and 14.4 agency, and I particularly like this website because it speaks to me. Because I love snowboarding. And, I'm this kind of guy who looks forward to winter when it's.
when with Sadek we look forward for summer basically.
And basically this website has been built with Slice Machine and Next.js, and they're using these reusable components that they use on many parts of the website, and also we've been talking with the agency, and actually I like the approach of the agency because they work closely with the companies that actually want to protect the nature and propel the human work.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting concept, and also the fact that it's a beautiful website and they plan to integrate their I don't know, there was a section with NFTs.
NFT,
everybody's talking NFTs
Sure
these
did.
days, right? And it's actually in Shopify right now.
Okay.
And down the road they plan to integrate their Shopify instance to plug the
Nice.
the NFT listings
Nice.
to Prismic.
They are all sold out, by the way. The NFTs
They're
did
also
all sold out.
yeah.
Did you buy them?
No. I have no NFTs. I don't know where to. Maybe you should tell me which one I should invest to.
Okay. So basically, what you like in this one is like the overall design and the purpose of the website, right? And
Yeah.
so that's something that we present every month as an inspiration, basically for all of the people using Prismic, what you can do and the capabilities of the actual website, and trying to get you some inspiration on website. Me, I liked their use of video and transition personally when I saw it. Like the first time, I found it really cool. As a former designer, I'm like, okay, that's good use of it. And
Right.
and so yeah, if you have any website that you want like to share with us, that you want to be seen promoted, like don't hesitate to share it with us on the chat or even on the community forum. There is a section for that. So please don't hesitate to share with us your website made with Prismic, and we'll be happy to feature it in the next meetup.
And drop it in the chat as well if you want to drop it today.
So Noah made me notice that I just skipped one part of the meetup, but like I guess we'll tackle it a bit more next month. It will be even more detailed and even more pushed, but like So myself, I was happy to have all of you on YouTube and like to have anything agency that was able to like give us some knowledge about how they pitch Prismic, how they use it, what it brings to their business and to the business of their customer. Happy to share with you basically the different direction that we are taking into improving the first experience as a developer, and then to show you some inspiration of website made with Prismic. I'll be happy now to get some of your questions and to reply to them. So we could spend a few minutes replying to some of your questions. So please don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. While waiting for them, maybe Simon, you can tell us what you think about the Twitter acquisition.
I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, like this in the middle. Maybe they need it. It was acquired by Elon Musk, right?
Yes.
So no, I heard Ice Cube don't want anymore to have a shadow ban, so maybe it's a good good thing.
So we have some answers or feedback already. So Sriram is asking us, could you provide us a detailed documentation about the import format and how the JSON should? I didn't learn much from your doc. Sriram, like that's noted. We'll look at it. I know that we provide already some technical resources, but the education team will look at this and see if they can provide more. Some people say that you don't need any vitamin D. Simon.
I'm already tired. I mean, during the COVID time, actually, I was taking a lot of vitamin D. I guess I'm full of vitamin. All right.
So, no, it doesn't seem that we have any question on the chat at the moment. Okay. So Ian is asking us, is the image CDN HTTP okay? I built an image extractor, but it will be easier if do not have to. So I imagine that Ian, you would like to be able to export all your media library. That's something that we can note. Anyway, you have access to it and you can do so because you have all the resources and the URL of the images to extract them. So, but we can I'll note that and I'll pass it to the team. Yes, Sriram is telling us that we have a great product and that we do great work. So I guess it's a good way to basically conclude this session and this meetup. I was happy to see you. See you next month.
Yes.
Every last Monday of the month. So see you there and have a great day or great evening depending on where you are. Bye bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.